Hello, friends and gamers. It is me, Leighton, co-host of this show, and also, for this episode only, the editor. um, Sorry in advance. Audio editing is not my passion, but Brian is not here. So, please forgive me my audio editing sins. I did my best. And the good news is that it's a Jory episode. We talk about and watch Saw 2. So you get the before and after discussion here, and as you will be reminded many times throughout this episode, you can get the full commentary for Saw 2 on our Patreon. And before you leave a comment talking about how this episode blew your ears out or it was too quiet, I know! Enjoy. Crisp, clean clap.
Not a requirement of the exercise, but that was like perfectly in sync for me.
Yeah, technology. What can we say?
We did it.
It is impeccable, always works, and lives to serve us.
Mm-hmm. As we well know.
How are you doing, Jory?
I'm not too bad. If we're starting this by talking about the modern world, I am tired all of the time. I am always exhausted.
Yes.
The only times I'm not exhausted are when I am stricken with those moments where there is quiet, so your brain fills with thoughts of the most terrible things possible, which generally happen immediately before, during, and after sleep. The best times for your brain to do that thing.
Oh, your brain doesn't have any other things to do, so it's just like, everything is wrong with you.
Yeah.
You are a vile bastard.
Your friends and family are plotting to kill you. They tire of you.
Too real. In terms of, we talk about the little ditties that are certainly maladaptive that our brains come up with. And I've been going back to advice you gave a while ago of replacing anything self-sabotaging with, I love baseball. I'm a fan of baseball. I just love the game. And it really works.
I'm glad / sad to hear that.
It's better than the alternative, which
Absolutely.
I will not elucidate in the polite company of our audience.
Yeah, it is that's like saying like bro or gamer or something like that, where you started as a bit and then it just sticks with you. And as you said, it is better than the alternative, but like just randomly I'll be roaming around saying, I love to think about the crack of the bat. I love the sound of the ball soaring into the stands.
Take me out to the ball game, indeed. I love it. I love my sports instead of any variations on I hate myself and anticipate my demise. And I wish I could share some of the ones that my brain comes up with because they're pretty fire, but I don't want to put that self-destructive earworm in anyone's head.
Probably for the best. Samesies.
Yeah. Even though,
like...
just for nobody who gets to be privy of this, both of ours are very good and funny, if not absurdly maladaptive.
I actually I feel like recently I haven't been having as many intrusive thoughts because my head is just so completely full of other shit at all times. There is no room for intrusive thoughts.
Yay! That's a W.
We're making progress.
Yeah. It's tough once you get into the scramble of like, I need noise to fill my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's been why I have been harassing everyone in our gamer group chat every single night for the past 2 weeks to game with me. Which is the sole thing keeping me sane at the moment, honestly.
I respect that. Yeah.
But you've joined us for a good bit of that gaming, which I'm always thrilled by.
I've been going for like once a week or so.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably a healthier amount to do that.
well, often I'm just doing other unhealthy things. Like I'll just be like working at midnight instead. So it's like, well, we do what we can.
Yeah, the squad of Aaron and Harry and you and sometimes Nate Hansen, and it's just a little. We had like a ton of gamers in the chat last night, including Allie. Just hyper
A gamer.
enjoyable.
I haven't spoken to Ellie in a while. It's been like 2 months.
Wow,
That's fucked
2
up.
months. What's in the? I was gonna say what's in the news because that's the kind of thing that Brian would say to put me on the spot, but I actually don't want to plumb those depths.
Yeah, how much do you talk about politics on the show these days?
Only when we're talking about what a right-wing ideologue you are specifically.
Okay, yeah. I've been told that that's happening, and I don't know how to process it in this moment now that I've been reminded of it, so never mind. Forget it.
Yeah, all right. Forgot.
What is happening that isn't either completely exhausting or a hellish portent of things to come?
Man-made horrors not beyond our comprehension, but man-made horrors that simply wash over you because you've reached a saturation point on man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. Fully within my comprehension now. And my dog agrees. I almost, Jory, was going to make you watch Oppenheimer.
Jesus Christ. Not only are good movies usually shorter than that, but that's a ridiculous generalization. I love a lot of long movies.
Yeah.
But I also just being stuck with that for 3 hours.
I know, but I want you to watch it so fucking bad because we're very aligned in our tastes, and it's one of the most baffling movies I've seen, as we've discussed.
I think that mumblecore is not only usually a little bit of an overcorrection, I think it's a little too much for me, but I think it's also just generally made by people who aren't calibrated to my level.
And also who literally don't have the ear for dialogue to be able to do that.
I know. But I do like it when people undersell stuff, and I keep thinking about how as an actor, the thing that I need to get good at in order to not feel like I'm embarrassing myself is underselling and eating lines and saying stuff casual and conversational. And the clips I've seen from that movie are all Robert Downey Jr. yelling in a way that I find humiliating. I get secondhand embarrassment watching it.
Well, there's do I have a track on deck for what it sounds like? Let's try this one. No, it was completely not the vibe.
What the fuck is happening?
It's a Brian Wecht original.
I love it. This one I know.
Yeah. I've got one that you've probably never heard before. What's poppin'?
Yeah, I've never heard this before.
Brand new.
What's poppin'? This is funny.
Hot off the presses. Yeah. Shit. No, why did it start over?
I liked it. I liked it the second time even more.
Thanks. Yeah, everybody does. Yeah, this is my first time being on the back end of StreamYard because Brian is dead again. And
What?
Yeah, did you not know?
Why would you be so cavalier about this? Even in the context of a joke, it makes you seem like a monster.
It's what he would have wanted.
No, he wouldn't. I mean, that's just that's a put on that he does for the audience. He's a caring man and a good friend. I don't know why this is making me laugh so much. The thought of his death.
You are a suck up even when he isn't here. Do you see me laughing? I'm trying to honor his wishes.
I was the one who was laughing at the thought of his death.
Yeah, so seeing as Brian is deceased, it's you and me on this episode of Late Night with Brian Wecht, and the theme sorry, Late Night without Brian Wecht, now and forever. Theme song!
What's poppin'?
What's pop?
God damn it. So are we not going to hear that song again in this recording? It's not going to come up?
I don't
Oh,
know.
God.
I will also preemptively say that I don't think we're going to do segments because anytime it's just you and me, it turns into endless what's poppin', and I don't feel the need for traditional structure. Also, I don't have a lot going on right now that I can speak about publicly. I have plenty to bitch about in private, but not on the pod. So, we do have an agenda today.
Yeah, we have a plan that was discussed at great length in advance. It's a very focused plan, which sincerely I've been thinking about all day and have been pretty excited about. So
I'm so stoked about it. So I believe a year ago, you and I both showed Brian Saw for the first time in the episode We See Saw, which is honestly one of my favorites. And I don't often re-listen to episodes of this show unless they're ones that you're in, because it's like, my friends that I'm hanging out with.
Wow.
And I love that one. So I figure, did you just like offhandedly suggest that we watch Saw 2? And I was immediately like, yes, that's what we're doing. It was some sort of very quick spur of the moment thing. Yeah. But I'm so psyched.
I think my previous suggestions were
the stuff
and the Blob. Yes, both movies about an ever-growing existential mass that's perpetuated by capital and lack of government oversight that eventually consumes everything in its path.
Yeah, and I figured it would be much more difficult for us to find an equivalent to like a true gem like Phantom of the Mall, Revenge of Eric. That's lightning in a bottle. You don't always land on that.
What a show. Have you talked about that on the pod at all?
I have, yeah.
It's such a good movie, and then the ending credits theme is just...
I completely forgot about it.
It's a horrible injection of misery.
More movies, it's like you get the arc of like, oh my god, it's a song for the movie. They did their own, this is like Wild Wild West shit. And it starts and you're like, wow, this fucking whips. And then the lyrics become more and more suspect in a way that's deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah. Genuinely problematic in a way that is not fun.
Phantom of the Mall, Revenge of Eric, available on Shudder now. Check it out. Anyway, so we're going to watch Saw 2. We will talk before and after. If you're listening to this on the main feed, you will be able to hear the before and after. If you are not, you will also be able to go onto our Patreon. And if you join at the $5 tier or up, you will get access to our full commentary track for Saw 2. So I guess that means we need to we need to pad out this initial conversation so that we have an appropriate length of before and after discussion.
I have to admit, having said that, it's like a lot of times when it's you and me, it's very pop based. I haven't seen any of the big movies of the moment in a pretty long time. I'm fucking up bad in that regard.
Yeah, I think maybe the most recent thing I saw was Civil War, which was... Oh, I watched that, and then I watched something kind of recently that had a similar level of, like, toothlessness that really pissed me off. Oh my god, what was it? Oh, this is gonna kill me. It was, like, an objectively worse movie than Civil War, but at least there was some mild level of commitment to what they were doing, and it's completely fallen out of the back of my head.
Oh my goodness, toothlessness. I can't think of you talking anything about that. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to think of... I am secondhand trying to think of...
Dragon?
Was it How to Train Your Dragon?
No. Just because the character is called Toothless.
Fuck. I haven't seen any of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I was realizing this the other day. I think the like new CG movie I have seen the most recently was Zootopia. Because it was the framed movie like 3 days ago, and and it was like, wow, I don't watch animated movies anymore because
the moving pictures are the devil's hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a quote of a line from an Aqua Teen Hunger Force joke. That's where my brain is at.
Fair enough. It's a Tuesday evening.
Yeah. Uh, there's an episode where a lovable mountain of goo says, yes, and idle hands spend time at the genitals. And we all know how much God hates that, right? And this character has not been mentioned to be Christian before or after that moment, which I think is a really funny character choice.
I do love that. When I was laid up with my injury, I was doing some moral oral rewatching, but like not into seasons 2 and 3 quite where it gets real and it's is my favorite part of the show. I just think about Scott Adsid's performance as Clay Puffington not constantly.
Yeah. I know him from like Mr. Show and that's about it. And it just
Yeah.
makes him seem like, oh, is this guy just like a capital A actor who's just like really living in this place? Because that I think about the first time I watched that show as being like a legitimately unhappy time, and it's a great show, but it's like a genuine fucking bummer.
Oh, especially after like the whatever the episode where he goes camping with his dad and his dad shoots him. And it's all kind of downhill from there. I mean, the first season has some wacky shit. I mean, it's, you know, full on child naively misinterpreting biblical teachings to do stuff like raising the undead, etc. But then it just becomes much more like intergenerational cycles of abuse and evangelical Christian dogma harming everyone in its way.
Yeah, I I have I don't know how much you talk about this kind of thing on the podcast, but I have become like very knee jerk r slash atheist recently. Like something has happened in my brain where like I'm like a little less tolerant than I usually am about that stuff. I'm just a little like, okay, maybe just don't let a state just say that you should put the Ten Commandments on the walls of every school and make it a legal requirement. Oh wait, no, that's not r slash atheist. That's the law. That's in the Constitution. Never mind.
I mean, that is also the whole website now. It's also like such a backfire because nobody is gonna call the shit in the Bible out more than like you're going to ask a bunch of atheist gay teachers to do this, or like any ex-evangelical person who knows their shit is the last person you want indoctrinating the children into your Christian ideology, because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they did the work, they lived the life, and they did the work.
They they know the danger better than anyone, and I mean
Yeah.
I think that's some of the things that are biggest bummer. You should cut this part out, but it is like hearing the stories about people resisting the tiniest iota and being fired for it. It's like I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, it's hellish. We hate it. What's
I haven't seen Longlegs.
I have been wanting to go see it so bad, but the way that my weird schedule has been lining up, I will only go to like an early morning matinee, and I just have not had a day where I don't have like meetings during the time where I would like to go, or that it's a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, the times where I will absolutely not go anywhere near a movie theater.
Yeah.
And I've read very little about it. I have zero expectations. I expect to hate it and hope to be pleasantly surprised.
I think that's a great attitude to have about any piece of media.
Yeah, did you watch the trailer for Alien Romulus?
No, I didn't. I thought the first trailer for that movie was genuinely bizarre. I thought it was truly perplexing how much it just like showed multiple character deaths and stuff like that. I was like, this is weird.
I only watched the final trailer, which does the exact same thing.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've kind of mixed feelings about Fede Alvarez and mixed feelings about Alien in general. I think the first one is really good, and it seems like this movie is a remake of that one, which is a good thing. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I like slasher movies.
Yeah, and I think we have different opinions on Aliens, and that I don't think it does much for you, right?
Yeah.
And I really like that movie, but I feel like with the newer ones, like Prometheus and Covenant, which are both baffling movies in their own right, like, do you kind of skate by on Michael Fassbender carrying the entire thing on his back?
I think I think maybe in Covenant it does. I think he's really fun in that one. I think everything, man, people liking Prometheus is very, very puzzling to me. All the scenes
It's
that happen
nuts.
with him in them in that movie, I think, are terrible. Uh, I said this to somebody the other day, and I definitely got a very negative response to it. That it is shocking to me people are excited about Gladiator 2 because Ridley Scott is not good and Gladiator is not good. And these are two
Yeah.
hot takes that I will hold on to forever.
Yeah, I didn't even realize there was a second one. Can we stop? Can we just see like a new thing,
Yeah.
please? That's not a unique take. I just show me something new. And I'm a little trepidatious about Long Legs because despite having not seen the director's other movies, he has made other movies that I have only not watched because it's like I know I'm not going to vibe with this shit. I.e.
Oh.
The Black Coat's Daughter.
The Black Coat's Daughter? That sounds like a joke. That sounds like a romance novel, maybe. Hold on, I'm going to use my
It really
extremely
does.
loud keyboard real quick.
Dude.
I hope that sounds like a
That's
bit.
It has Kiernan Shipka in it. Yeah, Harry was apologizing for the volume of his keyboard on the call the other night, and I was relaying how funny it is when you type really loudly.
Well, especially if you're somebody like us where it's like incredibly fast WPM, so it just sounds like you're doing a Foley audio bit.
Yes.
Okay, so
No.
I have not seen any of these other movies.
Yeah, let's see. He did Black Coat's Daughter and
Oh, is he Anthony Perkins' child?
is he?
That's crazy. Yeah, he's the son of Anthony Perkins.
I'm the pretty thing that lives in the house also. He was in Secretary and Legally Blonde?
Well, he played young Norman Bates in Psycho 2.
Wow.
That's very odd.
Huh. Trivia: Perkins's mother, actress photographer Barry Berenson, was on board the terrorists hijacked American Airlines Flight 11 that crashed into the World Trade Center.
Oh no. We found our way back to something grim that isn't fun to laugh about.
Can you imagine if they made like a 2024 remake of Secretary starring James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal? I think that would go over really well.
You couldn't make it today.
Yeah, you couldn't.
I don't know whether to lean into that bit or not. I feel like it just gets into uncomfortable, like audio clippable territory.
Oh, yes, totally. It's just, I don't think we have anybody right now who has the level of like peak horny era James Spader, which Secretary truly comes on the tail end of that zone for him before he goes into like blacklist mode. But I can't, in the way that like Michael Douglas was in a shit ton of movies about fucking crazy girls, and then James Spader was just like the weird sex guy forever.
Yeah.
Who do we have? Timothy
Um,
Chalamet, which is not even close.
what's his fucking face? From goddamn fucking shit. Fuck. From Killing of a Sacred Deer and that
Barry,
movie.
Barry, I was
Keegan.
Kyogen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like he's got a reputation now for being very horny in movies.
yeah. I would say maybe Jacob Elordi also if we're going for Saltburn pulls.
Oh, right. I haven't seen Saltburn, so I fucked up bad by even initiating this topic of conversation.
I don't think you would enjoy it.
Well, that's fun. That's fun for us to talk about.
Yeah, it is. I'll just tell you about things that you won't like.
Having mentioned earlier that I am stirred into a terribly alert state by thoughts beyond my control late at night, there's definitely a pre that moment where I get unbelievably drowsy, and I had like a really strong version of this a couple of nights ago, where it's like get into bed unbelievably sleepy, so sleepy, nice and relaxed, warm and cozy, and then you fall asleep for even an instant, a dream begins, and then you are stirred into like a horrible existential alertness. Um, I've been having nonstop dreams recently, and I don't know what this means, but in my dreams recently, I am in a fun situation where I am LARPing being in danger, where it's like very often some kind of like LARP roleplay scenario inspired by like. I mean, I had a straight up zombies one the other day. Zombies, a thing that I do not think about ever. But it's like slasher movie or something like that, where I am running from a thing and I'm having fun and I'm feeling happy and positive about it. And I'm like, oh, they almost got me. And then I wake up, literal cold sweat, heart racing, like not fucking happy. And it's like, is my brain protecting me by making it into something fun?
I love that. If I wake up from a nap or sleep to a loud repetitive noise, which is happening frequently because I live next to a construction site right now,
Oh, Jesus.
there's no way for my barely conscious brain to take it anything other than someone is breaking into my home and is going to kill me right now.
Yeah.
So then I'm wide awake. I also had a nightmare the other night that there was a movie that came out that was like a documentary about some weird internet thing that everybody was excited to see, and I was getting my tickets and going to it, and I sat down and realized that the documentary was like uncovering the internet weirdo behind, and it was like some long running widely reviled webcomic that everyone like had like in the vein of like My Immortal, like everyone loves it because it's fucking horrible. And as the movie went on, it slowly revealed that it was me, and everybody in the audience knew it was me and turned to look at me and ridicule me, and then I felt like I had to be a good sport about it. Or I was like, haha, yeah, I was a real idiot. I was also in third grade. So
the screening of the movie is not even actually a screening of a movie. It's just a trap to get a spotlight on you and have you talk about it.
Yeah, degradation ceremony.
Ah, that fucking rips.
That was great. That was a real wake up in a true cold sweat panic that this was real, actually.
Yeah, that's really unfair.
Yeah, I love that. It's great. It doesn't speak to any, deeper seated issues with shame or whatever else.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of shame ones, and I have a lot of, like, I mean, I feel like speaking consciously about myself, I say that I'm like good under pressure. Like I feel like, all right, well, when I've got like a crazy workload and I've got to deliver things on time and whatnot, I'm always like, oh, up with the bootstraps. But like, I feel like I have dreams all the time where in that situation I fumble it fucking hard, and sometimes that's it's the night of the play and you don't know your lines, and sometimes that's the oh, my favorite band needs a drummer and I haven't drummed in years. All right, well, here we go. I also, though, weirdly enough, I have been having, and it feels kind of like this is like a psychic trap my brain is setting for itself. I have been having so many good idea dreams where like I either like make an incredible game and I'm like, I am so proud of this. I can't believe it. This is going to be so wonderful when this launches. And then I wake up like, ah! And then it's like, oh, yeah. So in the game, it's a procedural mystery, but every time the mystery is just about the color of the pipes and the player has to notice the color, and it's just like dumb bullshit. Or I had a dream the other night where I was just like, I feel like I was in my bed physically laughing because I had come up with just like the most amazing sitcom joke. I had just like such a great joke. And I woke up having no idea what it was, and I was so sad about it. Like, I think it was like one of those ones where I woke up and was like in bed like, okay, now I just gotta reach for my phone and write this down. Oh, it's gonna be so good when I write it down. And now I'll never know what it was. It was probably fucking dog shit, but I don't know.
My least favorite version of that is when it's in the dream, you're like, holy fuck, when I wake up, I'm gonna write this down and this is fucking killer. This is gonna be my next thing. And you wake up and it's not that you don't remember it, which also happens. The worst thing is when you remember the thing that was such a killer idea and it's like, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
That literally makes not an iota of sense. Good job.
And if your unconscious mind comes up with trash like this, I'd hate to see what your conscious mind does, you fool.
You dumb fuck. And then you get out of bed and it's like, oh, that mixtape is starting early today.
God damn it.
It's always nice, like, that amount of time as it, like, you know, how long will it take my brain to start to go off?
I know, I
It
love...
will not stop until I drown you out with content.
I forget if I've talked to you about this one, Leighton, but I've multiple times recently have been sitting at my desk trying to do something, usually work, either like programming or writing or something like that. And I will be like, fuck, I'm in such an irritable mood. I'm so annoyed right now. Why is just like existing and trying to pay attention so annoying right now? And then I'll realize that I have headphones on and I'm actively listening to a podcast while trying to do this thing that I'm trying to do. And I'm like, oh, I haven't heard what they're saying on this podcast in 20 minutes, and like pause it. It's like, oh, I'm just like so conditioned to capital N, capital C, need content, that like I can't turn it off.
It's a great place to be.
Mm-hmm.
I've been rereading No Country for Old Men, and I've been really wanting to rewatch No Country for Old Men.
Damn.
It really is one of the most like faithful book to movie adaptations. Like the dialogue is so, especially the call it scene, but it's really interesting because instead of the like, you know, don't put it in your pocket, that's your lucky quarter, the way that it wraps up is, I'm sorry, I have to find my highlight. Otherwise, it is word for word down to like the cashew or peanut bag, like slowly unscrunching on the table.
Really?
Yes, which I love. So, oh, here it is, right to it. Okay. And of course, in classic Cormac McCarthy, there are no dialogue tags. Good luck figuring out what's happening and who's
Fantastic.
saying what. My favorite thing about Cormac.
Your first name with him?
Yeah, I'm on a first name basis with a dead man.
Okay. Old Cormy.
The man took the coin. I got it closed now, he said. Don't put it in your pocket, sir. Don't put it in your pocket. Where do you want me to put it? Don't put it in your pocket. You won't know which one it is. All right. Here's the thing that they took out of the that they did not do for the movie, which I think is a stroke of genius. Because even though this is a good paragraph, it it feels so weird reading it and it coming to this. Anything can be an instrument, Sugar said. Small things, things you wouldn't even notice. They pass from hand to hand. People don't pay attention. And then one day there's an accounting, and after that nothing is the same. Well, you say, it's just a coin, for instance. Nothing special there. What could that be an instrument of? You see the problem. To separate the act from the thing, as if the parts of some moment in history might be interchangeable with the parts of some other moment. How could that be? Well, it's just a coin. Yes, that's true. Is it? Which
the
is
prose of
an
that is
interesting way to wrap that up.
lovely.
Isn't
And-
it? Cormac's so good, and it's like it's such a smart choice to leave it the way that they leave it in the movie.
Yeah, does he like kind of wax philosophical like that elsewhere in the book?
I mean, there's a good bit of it. You have the whole Tommy Lee Jones character has a lot of that, and
I meant like Chigurh though.
oh yeah, he does. I mean, because there's the part where I forget, not Ashley Judd, girl who looks like Ashley Judd's character's name. She actually does a good bit of like calling him on that shit right before he kills her. Of like, this isn't about luck, this is about you and what you want. But no, I think that's the there's a good bit of it with Woody Harrelson's character Carson, who is also in the book. Like he does a good bit of that.
Yeah, I just think like something that, and I haven't thought about this or put this into words before, but like something that I do love about that scene is like, I think it walks the line so well between him like kind of being worldly, like, and the whole you don't know what you're talking about, like you're not putting thought into anything that you're doing. Like, yeah. It feels kind of worldly and philosophical, but he also is just being a giant fucking asshole. And like, It's interesting how much putting all that stuff at the end makes it into like a Reddit post.
Yeah. I don't have any way to put it. That's just the way it is. Which is such a great line. Oh, what's the line that he says? Because it's the same in the book to the Woody Harrelson character of like, if the rules that you follow led you to this moment, what was the use of the rule?
Oh yeah,
And he, shoots him.
that's so great.
It's amazing.
Moment that I think about all the time, and I think we've talked about maybe watching that with Brian sometime. I think that's come up before.
Love that.
A scene that I find really interesting in that movie is the scene where Stephen Root gets shot, and then like the assistant type guy is there, and the way that it's played is so weird in like a very Coen-y way that like the assistant is kind of acting like it's like a scene in a single camera comedy, that he's like he refers to Stephen Root's character in present tense and then like corrects himself. He's like, well, was gonna, and it's like he plays it like it's a joke. It's such a weird little scene.
God, I was watching a compilation of scenes from the movie and saw Stephen Root for a split second and was like, I forgot you were in this movie. And I also forgot about that subsequent thing that you're saying.
God bless him. Love him. Love King of the Hill very sincerely, and think about King of the Hill constantly.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I started rereading No Country for Old Men because the last two books, which are kind of like a diptych that Cormac wrote before he died, they're probably two of his like densest, aside from Blood Meridian. Like they're a lot more difficult to follow, and apparently like I'm on the first one, The Passenger, and then there's the second one, which apparently is even more out there. And I just had to take a break because it's a lot of classic Cormac shit that is difficult to parse if you're not like fully mentally there to be parsing out every single thing that happens. And it's a lot of like philosophical conversations between lowlifes, which I love about him. There's intrigue. There's it's about a guy who is like a salvage diver, and he lives in New Orleans, and he has a sister who died, but like the whole deal is that he and his sister were in love, and like the sister was a mathematical genius who had schizophrenia, and so there are interludes that are like her growing up dealing with, her internal struggles with her various little people that she sees, but also like their father worked on with Oppenheimer, and so like there's that weird intergenerational guilt that's suffused with everything, and there's like there's intrigue with the rescue dive that the guy does in the beginning of the book, where the other guy that was on it, it's suspicious. He comes home, his house is ransacked, he like runs away. Like classic Cormac, but while highly enjoyable, I was like, I gotta go back to No Country because this is pretty accessible.
The simplicity
comparison.
of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing that description, that sounded fascinating. It's like the complexity of this sounds really fun, but
Yes.
I think I've talked to you about this before, maybe even on the pod, but like I truly love to read, and the only way I can stay awake while doing it for truly 1 minute is by reading stuff aloud, and like it takes for fucking ever. Because like if I just lay with a book, I become calm and relaxed and fall instantly to sleep because my brain is just like full bore. I have a fever because I am operating at too high of a temperature, or
Yeah.
I will immediately fall asleep. And then when I immediately fall asleep, that's when I jolt awake and the hellish thoughts begin. Not to just circle back to that.
Understandable. The idea of you reading a book out loud to yourself is incredibly charming.
You should hear the accents. They're good.
When I was in the nut house, that's what I was doing. I would sit in the corner of the wet yard reading A Confederacy of Dunces to myself and just do really terrible southern accents at myself.
That sounds
It
pretty
was
dope.
amusing to
I
me.
mean, you were just describing a book that's set in New Orleans, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Very Confederacy as well. But a book that I've started multiple times and had as one of the few things to distract me in that shithole. and yet I've not finished it. It's very funny. It's a great book.
I could maintain a very colorful conversation about that topic.
Yes.
Certainly, I could. The dunces and
The
the way that
Confederacy
they
of
are
them.
Confederate. Yeah.
I just like I think we've talked about this many times. It's like a Confederacy of Dunces, or pick any Cormac McCarthy book. It's like all of the characters are so absurdly repellent and horrible people. And they're so compelling, and I understand that people have reasons to like the things that they like. To not find those things compelling to the point of being annoyed by them or thinking a piece of media is bad because a character that's in it is like a morally reprehensible piece of shit is baffling. It's baffling. Like, what? Are you even having fun?
Yeah. I'm also always fascinated by just a movie. I heard someone say this about The Witch, that that those people aren't necessarily reprehensible, like to some extent, even in spite of their very Quakery hang-ups. They're like ostensibly morally good people in some ways, but like I heard somebody more or less say that just like it's such a drag spending that amount of time in that place that the movie sucks. And it's like, I think I understand that reasoning, but like I think by that logic it's kind of like, well, the movie has a happy ending. Like if everybody dies and she gets to go off and be a demon, it's a pretty happy ending by that metric.
Yeah. It truly does not feel like a contrarian impulse in me that I am fine with an unhappy ending. Like, if you're having a shit time in life, even if you're having a great time in life, it's the spice that makes things interesting. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I respect filmmakers or writers or developers who go there. It's like, okay, if you've done that, you're doing the thing that you really wanted to do, and you didn't let like pleasing an audience get to you on that. Like, that is the truest form of artistic expression, is doing the thing that you wanted to do and not because it's going to test well.
Yeah. I feel like some of the only versions of that do like test well in that sense are movies where, like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like there are times where somebody, like, the audience really wants to see somebody they hate get theirs, and it's like that, I guess, could be like a pretty grim ending that people would be still into, just because it's like, well, a piece of shit suffered a lot and died. But otherwise, yeah, I'm only thinking of movies that I haven't seen as examples of this, so I cannot
Like,
speak to it. But like Tar, I was thinking of.
oh,
Which
you
is,
haven't seen Tar?
no, I haven't.
It's worth a watch.
Totally missed the movies of the moment of last year.
It's
Haven't
valid.
even seen The
Yeah.
Whale.
Wow. Not true Kino, Jory. Very un-Kino of you. I read the script, and then after reading the script, I was like, I'm never watching this movie in my life. Because
That fucking rips.
I love contrarian provocateur shit, but Aronofsky is very clumsy at it.
Not for me.
And that and the script for it is just like it's like obvious. What if we did the most obvious thing possible? What about that? Which is typically how his movies go. Or some this I hate this about Mother, because god damn it, I watched something recently that reminded me of Mother. Why can't I remember anything? But like everyone who complains about Mother, like, it's so obvious and it thinks it's so clever with the biblical allegory, and it's like, at what point do you think the movie was communicating to you that they're being subtle? Have you seen any of his fucking movies?
I know.
How is that the metric that you're judging this on? Of course it's not meant to be subtle. That's the reason you don't like it?
I'm really thrown by that. I sort of like, there's a crossed wire somewhere in how much people talk about like reading comprehension and media literacy, where I think both of those things are serious perils that are impacting our society right now. But at the same time, the way people lean on it sometimes, I think it reinforces this idea that, like, there's a way good writing works, which there just isn't. Like there's ideal forms. There's good things that can happen subjectively, but it's like stuff doesn't have to be subtle. Doesn't have to be fucking subtle at all. That's fine. It doesn't have to be.
No, and it's also like people's standards of what subtle is, where you can have shit that's blatantly obvious, and then people are like, did anybody else notice? So what are we doing? Or you do something where you don't explicitly spoon feed the audience what the point was, even if you give them lots to work with, and they still don't get it, and you need a 5-hour analysis video telling you exactly what happened. Like, that's fine. If that's when how you want to consume media, that's fine. But you're wrong, and I hate you for it.
I don't know. I like really obvious parables sometimes. Like, I think that stuff can be fun. I don't know.
I think all bad people should fall to their death.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. God damn it, I hate Up so fucking much.
Jory, I've been thinking about it so much. Every single time I see this thing of like, this character actually deserved to, like, I wanted to see them get killed. Of like, this is what Pixar did to us.
Nobody needs to
die.
This
is what they've wrought.
It doesn't. Nobody gets anything from somebody dying. It's not a moral lesson. It's not. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like, Leighton, I'm worried I've already talked about this on the pod. Have I already talked about Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas on the pod?
No, because I don't know what the words you just said are.
It's a Jim Henson TV special from, like, right before the Muppet movie. So it's, like mid-late 70s. Where it's a Christmas movie about Emmett Otter, who has a jug band. That's what you need to know about it. But
okay.
It's a Gift of the Magi scenario where in order to try to get his mom a nice present, he like ruins her wash tub so that he can enter his jug band in a battle of the bands. And at the same time, his mom is going to try to enter the same talent contest as a singer. And then at the end of the movie, of course, they end up forming a band together, and it's great, and the town loves it. But the entire movie, there's this menacing threat looming that there's this, like, cool, edgy, like, post-punk band of, like, edgy critters who live outside the town who are rolling in and causing havoc. And it's, like, the obvious implication is that they're coming to enter the talent show. And it's, like, this existential threat that they're coming here to do this. And in the third act of the movie, the cool critters show up to the talent show, perform, everyone loves it, they win by a landslide, and they leave with the prize money and are not punished in any way. And I love it so much. Wow. It's such a great moral lesson for kids. Like, the win for the protagonists ends up being a different thing than seeing the bad guys get theirs. It's like, it doesn't need to be that. They don't have to get theirs.
Yeah, and I think it ties into this idea of people talk about restorative justice when they very clearly want punitive justice, quote unquote. Yeah. They want to punish people who have the bad whatever. And it's very interesting watching people who seem to brand themselves as very progressive and lefty, who suddenly get really rabid about how fucking dope the death penalty is for crimes that they've decided are the worst of the worst and unable to be rehabilitated, and then start sounding incredibly right-wing while also thinking that they're on the moral high ground. And it's also like, so you understand the slippery slope of, like, you've decided that this person did a bad thing, and if you do particular bad thing, you deserve to be killed. Are we really not going to think about the next logical steps that line of thinking? Like, it's so fucking frustrating as somebody who consumes a lot of true crime stuff and people talking about true crime stuff, and it's like, guys, what the... Oh, you're a prison abolitionist, but also you're like, yes, death penalty to certain people.
I've never thought about that. It totally makes sense that there's an overlap of people reading a ton about true crime also kind of becoming low-key radicalized about wanting people to be murdered. I
Yeah.
I know. I just like. I think that there's not something like woo-woo about not wanting to be people to be murdered under any circumstances, even if
Yeah,
it's
or
by
like,
a state justice organization.
why do you want to have a lesbian socialist commune, but you also think that the government should be allowed to decide they can kill you?
Seems bad.
Bro? um, well, hey, let's wrap up this pre-discussion by saying a few words about the movie that we are going to watch. Jory,
Yeah.
how excited are you to watch Saw?
Speaking of restorative justice / punitive justice, let's talk about John Kramer.
Yeah, after we had decided to do this, somebody, this is Lynchian Venus, who, forgive me because I forget what your real name is, even though I've spoken to you several times, put in the episode discussion thread of our Discord. Listening to Ep 149, we see Saw in the midst of my hyperfixation, and Jory's quote, "What do you know about the legacy of Hoffman and the way that his and Amanda's fates intertwine?" absolutely destroyed me. Which is amazing because I think about that particular line of delivery constantly.
The fucking post-credit scene of Saw X when Hoffman is revealed is the thing that I think about constantly. When the dude is hanging and Kramer's there talking to him, and then Hoffman straight up goes like around the corner, like, "Here's Hoffman!" It's like the audience is like, "Yeah, some white guy!"
Yeah, Hoffman is when the series starts to lose me, like post Saw 3. I almost suggested Saw 3 for this, but I fucking adore Saw 2 so much, and I think, you know, you know this because I sent you the Drive link with all of these, but somebody compiled all of the audio commentaries for every fucking Saw movie, and so I watched all 3 for Saw 1, 2 of them for Saw 2, and 1 for Saw 3, and the Saw 3 one is Shawnee Smith and Tobin Bell, and it's the cutest thing ever. But all the ones with Lee Winnell and James Wan, and then there's one with them plus Carrie Elwes, are so fucking good. I had such a blast listening to them. Such genuinely funny and likable guys.
And this makes me think about stuff that we were talking about when we watched Saw together, but like it knowing that Carrie Elwes cared enough to do commentary does kind of like turn a key in my brain of like, oh, this wasn't like some fucking mercenary thing. Like, don't get me wrong,
No.
I'm sure it was just some mercenary thing, but he gave a shit enough to come back for a commentary and stuff. Like,
He
that makes me
talks about
happy.
it. He said that it's the most fun he's ever had on a movie set. It was having a great time the whole time, and
That
he
fucking
was just
rules.
doing bits, roasting Lee and James, and doing his little Marlon Brando impression.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It just so incredibly charming. Meanwhile, his performance in the movie, I think about constantly. My
It's
family.
It's really good. Well, let's talk about Donnie Wahlberg then.
Let's fucking go.
Let's talk about the story of Eric Matthews. Which, wait, is that the protagonist's name?
Something or other. The thing I was noticing after rewatching all of these Saws with the commentary is because I've been playing so much Dead by Daylight with Aaron and company. We were on the Saw map, and I was going around, and like the Saw map in that game is amazing. It has references to like every single movie. They have the Saw bathroom with Carrie in it with the foot. They have the like in 3, the machine that like rips the guy apart, along with the one where the girl's getting sprayed with ice water in the frozen room. They have the oven from 2, like they have the control room with all the monitors from 2, and like the whole area with the workshop and where Donnie's flipping out at Tobin Bell.
There's burning alive deaths, like the one that's in this movie, and then isn't there also one in like 5 or something? Like, for some reason, like, a fireless just it is extremely hot death really gets to me for some reason. Maybe it just feels it's like when seeing somebody's fingernails come off in a horror movie. It just feels a little more plausible than like a crazy Jason Voorhees evisceration.
Yeah, I think a few of the traps that are in 2 are probably the worst ones out of the series for me, which I think is great because they're so simple. It's not like you are chained to the bottom of a pit that will be filled with pig entrails. So yeah, let's do it. Folks who are listening on the main feed, if you would like to hear and watch along with our guaranteed delightful commentary of Saw 2, please go to our Patreon at patreon.com/LateNight.
Leighton's head is fucking full of trivia right now. I totally forgot that you just watched like 18 hours of Saw commentary.
I'm so stoked. And we're here with Jory. This is a follow-up of episode 149, Just No Brian. And also...
Which is a plus, if you ask me, frankly.
Yes, because
I don't want to equivocate, but he's a bad man, and I'm happy he's not here.
He's a bad dude. And you're free to say that and more, considering how much he's slandered you on this show.
I know, and he's going to hear me say that he's a bad dude, and I haven't heard him slander me on this show, so fuck him.
Damn it, there was something that I was going to send to our group text, and because he's off the grid, I knew that he wouldn't get it, so I didn't. But it was like... Oh my god, it was like a sign. Okay, it was a sign at CVS when I was waiting to pick up my medication that was like a pack, like, you know, one of the bowls that has a bunch of like wet wipes in it, and the sign on it just said wet ones, period. I know, it's bad.
That's terrible.
But folks at home, if you have not joined our Patreon, I just want to tell you what a great value it is, because for as low as $2 a month, you get access to every video episode we've ever done, which is 4 years of video episodes. If you go up to the $5 tier, you get a bonus episode every week, video episodes, other shit, blah, blah, blah. This week, I did a little mini-sode where it was me playing some Dead by Daylight. Brian and I do crossword puzzles, we play video games, blah, yada, yada, yada. You're all sick of hearing about it, but it's what keeps the show on the air, baby. So support us or... Fuck, I wish I had the Saw theme.
I'm trying to make my environment more Saw-colored. Is this more Saw-colored?
I think you would need to, like, make your editing so you're, like, jerking around really fast.
That's true, I gotta do the Jacob's Ladder shit. Right? Yeah, the camera's gotta rotate around me. Fuck, you can't recreate Saw-colored. Alright, from a stationary
I know,
camera.
so frustrating. Alright, so we're gonna stop. Alright, so we will say goodbye. See you either on the commentary or on our post discussion. Mwah.
Hello, late at night listeners. I want to play a game. You've spent precious hours of your life listening to this podcast, and now it is time to put your devotion to the test. Go to patreon.com/lateatnight for the full Saw commentary. If you don't, well, the device in front of you isn't going to do anything, but it will hurt my feelings. Make your choice.
Wow, I had a great time watching Oppenheimer for 3 hours.
God, what a cruel thing that would have been to, like, trap me into watching Oppenheimer.
Tell you that we're watching Saw 2. I would have downloaded the MP4 for Saw 2 and then spliced Oppenheimer in. But I would have removed the terrible soundtrack for Oppenheimer and replaced it with Hello Zep. Wait, what would be the best movies that would be greatly improved by Hello Zep being added?
God, Mamma Mia. Like figuring out which one's the father and Hello Zep is playing.
Oh, we're gonna get so copyright strike.
Talk over it. Satire, parody.
Wow, we just watched Saw 2. Welcome back to the main feed, everybody. If you didn't go into the Patreon and watch the commentary, you are dead to me. Thanks.
Wow, harsh. Fucking enforce your paywall.
Please don't ever pay money for our show. You have more important things to buy, like food
Hold
and
on. Now you're overcorrecting.
Doritos. I don't know. Reverse psychology, it works sometimes.
The new cheesy street gorditas from I think they're called cheesy street chalupas from Taco Bell. Pretty good.
Really?
Recommend.
What's the difference?
Well, unfortunately, they only come in steak and chicken varietals, so I did have to replace that with beans, which didn't turn out the best. But as far as I know, they are the first Taco Bell item to have cilantro on them, which is, like, very funny to think about a Mexican restaurant finally having cilantro on an item after, like, 50 fucking years of operation.
I mean, that's the Chipotle killer for me, right? Like, I don't like Chipotle. I've never really gotten the hype. Part of it is like, you're gonna put cilantro in the rice, really? 23andMe told me what I already knew. I hate it. I have the cilantro taste like soap gene, and I'll say, I didn't always have it. As a kid, I fucking loved it. I didn't understand why everyone hated it so much, and I think the like new taste buds every 7 years or whatever thing happened, and I cannot stand it now.
That's so fascinating. I don't remember what I have sold all of my personal information to 23andMe, but I don't remember what mine said about the cilantro thing.
I think mine also said I was more likely to be a night owl, which I guess historically is true, but over the past few years has changed drastically.
Damn.
Well, Jory, what did you think of Saw 2?
I think that it is better than I remembered it being. And I don't remember it being bad, but I remembered it being more bullshit. And
yeah, the series has massively diminishing returns, and 3, which I genuinely do really like, is still a hard dip from 2. But like 1 and 2 are unimpeachably perfect for me. Like, there's a lot you could pick at, and I don't care.
It's a really good sequel, like in the world of like
Yeah.
how a sequel can escalate and still kind of feel like the heart of the thing. It's good.
Yeah. If you had not already tapped out because of spoilers for Saw 2, this is the point where you should do it and go fucking watch Saw 2. Because you should. This is the same arc. It's like anytime somebody makes the like, oh, Saw is just torture porn argument, it's like, all right, we've identified the person who's never watched a fucking Saw movie. Like the arc of getting Brian to watch it and then him being like, oh yeah, it's goofy, compared to how nervous he was beforehand. It's like, yes, they are basically comedies.
Yeah.
It's slapstick violence.
Even Spiral is a little silly still. Like, I still think it feels like they're trying to keep it in that world. They just failed.
Yeah, it's silly, and then the part where it thinks it's being serious is somehow sillier than the rest of it.
Yeah, that's so
where it's
true.
like, yes, the final contraption is he is a big puppet, as a puppet of the stage, and he has a gun, and he's going to be shot. Like, you cannot take the surrogate John Kramer figure in that movie seriously, because he's just a fucking tech bro.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I think that tech is the future, and they have the way forward for us. And
No, Jory, actually, I think that any usage of generative AI is evil and bad, and anybody who even touches it is evil and bad. I believe in science, and I have a sign in my yard that says I believe in science, but only science that isn't scary to me.
that's right. I did see, I always forget the name of this fucking comic. God damn it. I'm not going to be able to remember it, but there was a webcomic artist who trained a model on his own work, and people were calling that problematic. And it's like, y'all, he has a model on his local machine that he trained on his own work for fun. And it's like, I get, it's so frustrating.
I need the Gus Fring straightening tie meme that's like, you use ChatGPT to rip off other artists' works. I use ChatGPT to make my emails sound less bitchy. We are not the same. That's my favorite thing to use it for. It's just like, Hi, ChatGPT, and I'm going to thank you after you answer me because I have
Yes.
a problem with anthropomorphizing you. I wrote this email. Can you make it sound less hostile?
The other day I was in bed, and again, I was kind of punchy, like I was in that like kind of sleep state, and I have a Google Nest on my end table, and I asked it to turn off the lights, and for some reason recently it had some kind of update where it cannot be muted. It always says in the assistant voice like, okay, changing 3 lights brightness to 0 or whatever. And I just like instinctively went, thank you, Google. Like, not a bit, no one around to hear it, just like out of pure like subservient like people pleaser energy.
Yeah, no, my command for like turn off all my lights is just good night. And it knows that, but some nights it won't listen to me, so I'll say it, and then she'll just go, good night, and do nothing.
That's awesome. Oh, the smiley fry energy of that, it does like cut right through me of like, oh, sweet robot.
Yeah, and I will patently refuse to elaborate further on the concept of smiley fry energy.
Forgot that was that was not a publicly known concept.
that is our parlance for a very specific feeling. Yeah, but you know, as much as I say please and thank you, and what a great idea, I would love to hear more of that to my little AI buddies. I know Amazon has a database of every time I've ever called Alexa a bitch. And when we're all working in the salt mines, she's gonna remember that.
Like a year ago, I was like, I'm finally done with Google. Don't get me wrong, I completely wasn't. I still use Gmail, and I still use YouTube, and I still use a million other things. But like, their search is just getting so bad, and I just like hate it. So I started using DuckDuckGo, and over the course like of the last like 3 or 4 months, DuckDuckGo it's all algorithmic bullshit. It's ads and shopping suggestions and AI, like really bad AI suggestions of like summarizing the info that you want. It's like they just have started doing all of the shit that Google does that we hate. It's like there's like
I love it.
No way to avoid the internet already knowing that you say mean things to Alexa. It's all out there.
Do you get the thing where like you're Googling something that is admittedly a little dark for creative purposes, personal purposes, whatever, and then immediately Google's like, do you need help?
Yeah, I've got that.
Do you want to text a hotline that isn't going to, you're going to be on hold for 6 hours, and then they're going to talk to you and be like, well, talk to a friend.
I'm trying to remember, there was something recently where I like did not even think about it, and like the Google actually like blindsided me a little bit by saying that like, here's a self-harm hotline, and it was like, oh right, this is kind of fucked up, never mind.
Yeah, I also like when ads start targeting you, but they're all for like antidepressants and ketamine treatments for depression. It's like, well, I'm interested in that legal ketamine, but also stop that. You shouldn't know that. Stop.
Yeah, you know, all I get is just like, you know, ads for like muscle teas and like, you know, luxury vacations and stuff like that. So I don't really know what that's like, yeah. But
expensive watches.
Yeah. And
it's
like carrying cases for your expensive watch collection.
I've gotten a ton lately that are like, are you struggling with your infertility?
Jesus.
And I genuinely can't figure out where that's coming from, other than maybe I have some constellation of interest that's causing it to do that.
God.
And if I were struggling with infertility, I would be really upset and triggered by getting ads.
Jeez, that's so true.
All the time.
I know, just like I start getting ads at some point that are just like, are you a pathetic beta lib cuck? Like, like, all right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Hello, Leighton. I've noticed that you've Googled some strange food combinations.
It's such fucking bullshit.
Oh, I wish it had started at the beginning of the clip. My favorite thing about this is it goes on for fucking ever.
So, Jigsaw didn't really put Amanda in a trap because she was self-harming. That was a fabrication.
Yes? Yeah, what was the... Because he was there for her doing it. Was that just sort of like a devotion?
Oh, wait, no. He did put her in a trap for self-harming after she went to jail because Matthews framed her for drug charges.
Yes.
Which, frankly, it's really, really shitty to put someone in a saw trap because they're cutting. It's like, y'all, come
yes.
on. The grow up.
Yeah, I mean, it's also shitty to put a 15-year-old in a saw trap for being a ACAB Nepo baby.
Yeah.
But he was in a safe place.
He was.
Yeah, it's such a goofy movie and is just a perfect watch. It is such a comforting movie for me.
It goes down smooth. Like I said, I think there's like the middle chunk of like 10 to 15 where I think like it's kind of like events in the house just need to play out a certain way. And I think it's around the time
we need to pick more of these off.
Mm-hmm. And I think we were talking about like that's the part where like Matthews is like going ham, like wrecking a bunch of stuff, but he's not like actually. I think once he starts like actually hitting John, I think it's kind of fun. But
yeah,
like when he's just like throwing some papers down on a table, it's like this is completely inert. But
yeah, you like that? Me ripping up your thing for you made plans for the thing that you already built?
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm ripping them up.
And you're visibly dying, and why would you care about this?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that I really liked about Saw X, of getting further into the Amanda and John weird relationship. I mean, it's what's great about 3, too, especially because Amanda is just so romantically jealous of Doctor they have kidnapped that she ends up fucking the entire thing. Yeah, my memories of 4 to 8 is Spiral 9, and then Saw X is 10.
Spiral is not part of the counting system. So yeah,
All right.
I think 3D
so there was
is
a
9.
Saw 9.
Oh wait, hold on. Now I gotta look.
2021 film. It is Spiral.
I'm sorry. That sounded defensive. I meant it as a sincere apology. I hope it didn't sound.
Okay, and then Saw 8 is Jigsaw.
You know what? I'm not sorry. Sorry.
Have I seen Jigsaw? I don't think I have.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm confused. Let me look at this list here.
Wait, no, I have, because that's the one with the laser cutter trap.
Is that the?
The
Yeah.
it's like the shotgun collar, but with lasers.
Yeah.
So then what's Saw 7? Is this in the Hoffman era? Carrie Ellis. So that's Saw 3D
Okay.
in 2010. This is the one that you were mentioning, where it's the guy who claims to have survived one of the Jigsaw traps, and then John shows up.
Okay. Which, I mean, a fake Jigsaw survivor is kind of a fun idea. I also think it's really funny how, like, many... Because in which one did they start showing a Jigsaw survivor support group? That it's like, God, there's like, it's an epidemic. Hundreds of people have been through this.
Yeah, people are really bad at catching Jigsaw.
Which is like,
it's like old and dying.
If I watch these movies again, will they feel more satirical to me? Will they feel more intentional? Because like saying this out loud, it sounds like a deliberate joke. Like that feels like the latter era of like Jason, where it's like Friday the 13th Part 6 has its tongue like 100% of the way in its cheek. And it's like that movie feels like they would do a Jason support group. And it's like, yeah, did they think that was a joke? Was that supposed to be funny? I don't know.
I don't know. The interesting thing about watching commentaries for the first 3 movies is that, like, all of them are so completely on the same page of the level of comedic and tongue-in-cheek these movies are. And
I
I
love
think
that.
after Darren Lynn Bousman, whatever, once he takes over, and also it's really funny how much Lee Whannell and James Wan shit on him. Difficult to degree the level to which they're joking. It's like genuinely really charming because it does seem like there's no ill will. Yeah.
Okay. I guess, yeah, you kind of made it sound like it might just be abusive.
No. But fucking good for James Wan. I like him so much more since watching all these commentaries with him, where it's like, you are a charming, funny, goofy dude.
Damn.
And you make, you know what movies you're making.
I haven't seen his Fast and Furious, and I haven't seen the Aquaman movies.
He did a fast. Oh, I forgot about.
He did, yeah. But people like his Fast and Furious. I think the Aquaman movies, they kind of seem like people like them more than you would expect. And I think it's a very flawed movie, but I really, really like Malignant. I think I am like fully on board Juan. I think he's great.
I really want to watch Malignant, and I think I'll enjoy it. Okay, so 4 is the one with John's autopsy where they take the wax-coated microcassette out.
Okay.
And that's when you get the background about the miscarriage when Cecil, a drug addict, robbed the clinic at which she was employed.
Damn.
That is literally all I remember from 4. I'm looking at the Wikipedia synopsis and I'm like, when the fuck did all this happen?
And 4 is also the one where Matthews dies, which there's something that really gets me about the protagonist of a previous slasher movie dying in one of the later ones. Like Alice from Friday the 13th Part 1 dying at the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2, like, really bothered me when I was a kid. It's like, oh no.
What's the next movie after Aliens, where it's like, haha, fuck you, everybody's dead?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
That one bothered me so much. And I think, like, as an adult, I have the sense not to be bothered by it, unlike people where it's, like, the permanent bugbear that movie just, like, it ruined the one before it. It's like, you can't ruin something that's already out. It's already out. It's not going to change now. Oh, shit. Is my camera off? Ah!
No, your camera isn't off. You've just been freezing up a little bit. But because StreamYard takes, like, local recordings here, maybe this will help you, maintain your presence on the... God damn... Fucking up my bit. God damn it. There we go.
I don't like that.
Neither do I. That's why we're going to go back to...
This is a funny show.
I really like StreamYard. Whoa, live with StreamYard. I can add an overlay. Oh, it has to be an image. Do I have any funny images that I can put on top of this, like right now, that aren't under NDA? Yes, I do. Hold on. Wait for it. See, this is the kind of goods that only the Patreon gets.
That's good. It took me a solid 10 seconds to remember that I made this image.
Yeah. How do I get rid of it? There we go. That's great. Why do I let Brian have the back end of this? I've gone mad with power.
That just reminded me of my favorite Neil Hamburger joke. Which is, why was Doors frontman Jim Morrison buried in a coffin that was 10 feet long? To accommodate his dunce cap.
Accommodate his dunce cap. I only know that because you said that the last time we did a Saw episode.
Jesus Christ. What a one-note pony am I.
No, it's what keeps the people coming back, Jory.
Have I had my fidget spinner on camera at all tonight?
I wish I hadn't cut that out the moment it started spinning. All right, we have to design a Saw fidget spinner trap.
What
What is it? It's 3 different people. and they each have their necks in one of the holes of the fidget spinner, and it starts moving slowly, and so they kind of have to like walk to keep up to it, but as it goes it spins up faster, and maybe like only one person can escape. Otherwise you just get kind of like
I like that
spun.
idea. That's
What
a little
would be
more transformative than I was thinking. For me
Yeah,
it
what
was
were you
just like
thinking?
for me it was just like, in your hand is the spinner that you hold in such high esteem. for 2 minutes you must go without stimming, or your mother and father and your grandfather and grandmother, who have done so much work to help you, will all die. It's like Zoomer entitlement has reached a new peak, and the woke left like you will pay for deciding to fidget instead of focusing on what is important, life and family. And the kid is like sweating with their spinner in front of them, like. And as it spins, then you see the people's necks being twisted by the spinner. Just very
Oh fuck.
completely without irony, I have had a fidget spinner the entire time we've been recording this this pre-podcast and commentary, and now this outro, and I've been using it totally without irony.
I'm gonna be really embarrassed that if I can't find my fidget spinner that is literally within arm's reach at all times right now.
I believe in you, but also
Thank God. Thank God.
I know.
Hello, game developer. You post images of your work on Twitter. I can't even continue with the bit. I'm sorry. I am fucking myself so hard having to deal with the fact that Hello Zep is on this audio draft now, and I have to edit it.
God damn it.
But there are few things in this world that make me laugh harder than Hello Zep.
Are you gonna actually try to edit out all of the Hello Zep? There's been a lot of it.
No, of course not. They're gonna be in there. We don't make money off of YouTube. It's
Did you watch the Fallout
copyright
TV
strike.
show? Oh shit!
All...
Did you watch the Fallout TV show at all?
No. I still have not, and I refuse until people stop talking about it.
Michael Emerson, aka Zep, aka Ben from Lost, plays a role in the first couple episodes.
Oh!
And it's always nice to see him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's great.
Do they play like I don't want to set the world?
I watched 2 episodes of the Fallout TV show, and I was so sick of like Ink Spot songs by like episode 2. It's constant. It's just a constant thing. It's like, stop. Why is it like that?
You cut out a little bit, so what's the constant thing?
Just like Ink Spot songs and like playing 50s music, which I get is like part of the bit of like the Bethesda Fallout games, but it's like, stop, slow it down.
Yeah, you gotta use those sparingly. Like, don't do that. I'll listen to it in my free time on my 12 different Fallout playlists and the dozens of radio mods I've installed across the games. I don't want it in the TV show. We get it. You don't want to set the world on fire, for fuck's sake. So in this world, a club formerly for Elvis impersonators, none of them know who Elvis is, but we all love Bing Crosby. Okay, make it make sense, Bethany Esda. That's Obsidian. Sorry.
It just doesn't pass muster. Music would have changed in the 120 years between those songs and the invention of the splitting of the atom. There would have been recordings of other music.
Yeah. Instead, we're all mad that a ghoul kid survived in a fridge for 200 years or whatever.
The nuking the fridge.
Does that quest suck? Yeah.
It does.
But
it's cute. It's silly.
Is it? It's cute and silly. What the fuck? Oh, Fallout 4 is so boring. You'd only do like mean, sarcastic yes, no, but it totally breaks my immersion that there's a ghoul kid in a fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Suck my dick.
It also breaks my immersion that a woman is powerful or cool in any way. Like the type of people who are online talking about what breaks their immersion are always talking about it's a slippery slope from there's a kid in a fridge and that's silly and I don't like it, straight down to like just, oh, I am a bigot and it breaks my immersion to be reminded that I'm a bigot. Oh, I'm getting audio clips. Never
I
mind,
think the
forget it.
Enclave had some pretty good ideas.
Mm-hmm. Actually, they had some very smart government ideas.
Liberty Prime is a cool and badass awesome thing that we all like.
Ugh.
Power Armor, also a very cool and awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
Brotherhood of Steel, Paladin Dance, cool and awesome.
And those things weren't designed
We're going to spend the entire game saying, "Are synths people?" when the most human character of the entire game is Nick Valentine, and he's like one of the first characters that you meet and like helps you find your son and shit. And then also it's supposed to be like a fucking huge plot twist that Paladin Dance, a fucking hypocrite, is also a synth. You really expect me to give a fucking shit after I bring all my besties, my harem of synths and ghouls onto the ship, and then everyone's fucking racist? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Elder Maxton had the right idea. Dance.
Also, I don't have Nixie tube eyes. I don't know anybody who does have Nixie tube eyes. If I met somebody with Nixie tube eyes, I would think they were the coolest and best. I have no reservations about that.
You're not wrong. You know what my favorite thing about Fallout 4 is? Is that they really hid the best content in their DLCs. I mean, the Far Harbor DLC is Hold on, excuse me. It's exactly what... It's a real return to the original.
That's right.
It's a real return to the RPG storytelling of Fallout New Vegas and 1 and 2, with the sort of deep, interesting characters and decisions, and excellently designed puzzles and mini-games.
Remember how you just played an entire base campaign that was entirely a very belabored and lame question about whether robots were human? What if a DLC asked the exact same question in a way that was no more challenging or interesting?
It also had the worst puzzle stage in any video game for the past 20 years. Would you like that? Would you go on Steam and tell other people that Far Harbor DLC redeems the rest of the game and is anything more than a fun excuse to take pictures with my fucking synth boyfriend Nick Valentine? Live or die. Make your choice.
Some friends and I reinstalled Fallout 76 a couple of months ago, and the game has like expeditions you can go on now that are just like big dumb raid dungeons that you get to go through and shoot a bunch of shit. We were laughing and having fun the whole time. Fallout 76, good game.
I've gotta jump back into it. I was gonna play it, and I'm not gonna continue that sentence because it was embarrassing, and I've got to stop saying embarrassing sentences on this show, which is never gonna happen. But yeah, I should play Fallout 76.
You know who loves Fallout 76? John fucking Carpenter, and he directed Escape from LA and Escape from New York. So I think he knows a little more about storytelling.
Is he a certified Fallout 76 gamer?
There was a post when there was some kind of content update that added a new expansion to the map, and John Carpenter did like the most like excited tweet about how just like it was just like straight ahead, no jokes. It was just like, everything about the new map has been excellent and the patch process was seamless. Kudos to everyone involved. It's just like unconditional love of this small content update for Fallout 76. John Carpenter is so fucking
beautiful.
awesome.
I mean, the Nintendo Labo video of him calling it a piece of shit while he tries to play the Halloween theme is like impeccable. Thank God.
I think it just isn't it what he says at the end of it, just like, this is completely fucked. And that's how the video ends.
Yeah. God, I wish I was John Carpenter.
What a guy. He directed an episode of some kind of fucking TV show, like some kind of anthology horror show, by just like telling people what to do a little bit over Zoom. Like, he just did it from his own fucking couch. And it's like, John Carpenter finally just making the money. It makes me so happy.
And he's got his son making movies that are pretty good. Or at least I saw Possession, and I like... Not Possession. Possessor. Did you see Possessor?
Hey, Leighton. The listeners are going to take you to task for this if I don't. I don't mean to be a pedant. But that's...
Cronenberg! I have to go.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I have to go.
I'm sorry.
I have to go.
I know. I'm sorry, buddy.
This is so humiliating.
But I haven't seen Possessor, and I keep meaning to. And people seem to like his second movie pretty well, too.
What's the second movie?
There was a scary man with goo arms. I don't remember.
I could have leaned into the bit and claimed that I was that me confusing Carpenter and Cronenberg was a bit, but
you never think about that in the moment. It's like, I'm not gonna.
I'm two vodka cranberry cherries deep,
and
it's 11:42 p.m. and we just watched Saw 2, and I would argue that Saw 2 had a more intoxicating effect on me than the beverages.
Any amount of vodka cranberries could.
Yeah, I don't know. Possessor is it has a lot of good things about it, and I think he not to saddle him with the sins of his father, but he has a lot of the same issues with making a coherent story, but filling that film with a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah.
And Andrea Riseborough is always great.
I don't know who that is.
She's in the episode Crocodile of Black Mirror, which I actually think is the best episode of Black Mirror, and she's also in Mandy, in her incredibly thankless role as Mandy.
She's very good in Mandy, in that utterly thankless role, that then once she is out of the movie becomes completely unenjoyable.
Yeah. It's the kind of movie that I feel like I need to never rewatch because my initial experience of it was enhanced by just a disgusting amount of weed.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I just need to preserve the weed-addled experience of it.
It's just...
I know your thoughts on this film.
It's so long.
All right, well, is there anything else that we should say about Saw 2?
Nah. Hey, you found it.
I did.
We're doing great.
Hold on, wait for it.
For audio listeners,
you're missing out.
you gotta get on the video. This is dumb. I'm getting really tired. Not tired of the pod. So happy to be on the pod, but I'm getting like a little punchy from being sleepy.
Yes, me too. Well, Jory, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. I cherish your friendship. I cherish your appearances on the show and the generosity you show with your time. So thank you for watching Saw 2 with me and talking about it.
I feel no reservations about that. I was looking forward to it all day, and it was a delight. Thank you for having me.
Me too. All right, listeners, have a good weekend or whatever. I don't know. If you have the opportunity to get stuck in a saw trap, consider don't. Bye-bye.
Late at Night is produced by Brian Wecht and Leighton Gray. Game over.